and I don't know anything about it, but I think it's in the courthouse annex. Well, it kind of got me off on the wrong foot in the first place, because I would think the assessor should know what's going on in this situation, I would think. So it kind of got me upset anyway. And then I go over there, and she says, there's a $50 fee for this. And I guess I want to know why there has to be a fee for it in the first place. Why should there be a fee to build a new house in Sac County?
Who wants to? Who wants to?
The zoning board actually set these fees up. We didn't. And for anything, and these fees are what's actually paying for the zoning.
Just paying
You're not for the zoning itself. We're not. You're not assessed for anything with the zoning board or the zoning commission or anything like that. This is just a fee for the application.
So who's the zoning board?
Sherry Wilson is the planning and zoning coordinator, which you've obviously talked to.
Right.
There's a planning and zoning board, and when this process was started, we were one of less than 10 that had no unincorporated zoning, and over a 4 to 5 year period, that document was constructed. In reference to what you're talking about in the fee schedule, there is a cost of having that person review the applications. The fee was not set up for the purpose of a revenue maker at all. It was set up just to cover the costs of that individual. That individual is only employed on an as-needed basis. All county government or city government quite often will have a full-time zoning officer. Ours is only on an as-needed basis. So if she has an application come in, she keeps her time and she's only paid for that time. It's not a salaried type position. In the unincorporated or incorporated areas, you have the ability to either levy for that purpose to run that entity, or you can use a fee for service type arrangement. The planning and zoning group recommended a fee for service because the individuals using that service would pay the fee to offset her time. Your other option in that is to charge no one, but then levy for it. And the group made the recommendation that they thought a fee for service was a more fair arrangement rather than levying through county taxes to pay for her time to do this.
Okay, and so what's the purpose of being zoned? Why do we need to be zoned?
You
know, one reason, the main reason, is to give public officials and government knowledge of what's going on. Like, you know, if you don't have zoning, people can come into the county, they can build windmills, they can build a medical waste site, they could build, you know, you name it. They can come into the county, and we really don't have any knowledge of it because they don't have to give us notice. You know, zoning, most counties, you know, and we're one of the few that hadn't done this, it gives the county notice of what is happening in, you know, on the unincorporated area. You know, like all the towns have zoning,
Right.
and they have permits, application permits or building permits, whatever you want to call them. So it's just kind of an extension, the same logic that Sac City and Lakeview and Shaler have zoning laws to protect neighbors from unreasonable use of land next to their land. You know, I guess that's the main reason, Charlie, is to give the county. We're not trying to control how people, you know, use their property any more than we have to, but if something's developing that would, they say, for example, you live out in the country, your property, and say a corporation from Ohio buys, you know, land at an auction, and everybody thinks, oh, they're probably just going to farm it or something. And all of a sudden they find out they're grading and it's going to be a nuclear waste site or a medical waste site or, you know, some type of manufacturing that you're not happy with at all. And then you come to the supervisors and say, you know, why the hell are you letting that, or why the heck are you letting that happen? Well, you know, our hands are tied. If we don't have any land use or any, you know, zoning covenants, then how can we protect your rights?
But could you stop it anyway?
Then we can deny the application.
The zoning board could, according to that document, yeah.
You could, so in theory, you could deny me the right to build a new house if you wanted to?
No, if it aligns with that document, if it doesn't fit any type of land use that's suitable by that document, no, there'll be no questions asked. You'll make your application, it'll be approved, and away you go. He was making a reference to something that didn't fit that land use of that particular area.
Well, okay, and then I asked him on the phone, okay, I'll go along with that. One of these questions here is the proposed building or structure to be used primarily for agricultural purposes, such as a farmhouse or a farm building. Now, how can you answer that? That question right there. The only way I can answer that is I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me.
To be used for agriculture, such as a farmhouse or a farm building. It's kind of asking you, are you building a home or any kind of building suitable for the ag type area, or are you building something
Gas station.
Yeah, a gas station, as an example. So you would answer yes. It's you're building a home. End of question.
Well, okay. But the only reason I can answer yes is because that's what he told me, because I can't understand. I still don't.
Well, it probably isn't worded
No, it's
very
not
well,
worded
is it?
very well.
It really isn't. And what she did was use representations of what other counties might be using for the document for part of the application, and she probably didn't change that one, or the zoning group didn't, but that isn't worded real clearly. You're right.
Okay, and my next, has anybody got a permit yet?
Oh, yeah.
Well, this goes back again to the assessor. How come the assessor doesn't know this? Where to go?
They should have been able to answer that question. I'm surprised that they weren't able to answer
I'm
it.
sure the assessor himself could have answered it.
But
She did answer it, but she said, I think.
No,
I don't need
that's
I don't need to
an
come down here and
employee
have
of
somebody
the
tell me
assessor.
to
The assessor himself, I think, knows it, but he probably didn't relay it to theirs.
but they should be able to answer.
They
that.
should be able to answer that.
You're right.
So, could you guys address that for me?
Yes, we will.
We will.
Okay, and the next thing is, the only information I have is what I read in the paper, a little bit of what's the penalty if you don't get this permit?
There is in the planning and zoning document, there's by code of Iowa a fee schedule for that permit, and
Right. Yeah, that's right here.
fee and also the penalty. That penalty is set up by state regulation. That's not a local regulation. So I can't answer you directly what the fee would be, but it is set up by state code saying this is the maximum penalty that can be assessed by code of Iowa.
I guess I think it'd be a good idea to put that in the paper.
As part of the document, or
As a notice to the
as a
people,
notice.
so we know.
The zoning is in its infancy here in Sac County, so I'm sure there's going to be some changes made and some.
Because Shaler doesn't have a fee. You go up and you get your permit and you go about your business.
And that was discussed at the creation of this, and the group consensus directed towards a user fee rather than doing the levy option like I told you.
Okay, well then that brings up my next point, and I still don't understand this. When I was talking to you on the phone, and I used an example up to work, just for example, Sac County collects $1 million in taxes. I don't have any idea what they do, but let's use that as an example. I have 65 acres of land. I pay a certain percentage of that $1 million.